measurements.
Anyway.
Measurements are fun.
Anyway.
I'm actually measuring a Klipsch Heresy 4 again. I'm measuring on the near field scanner this time. I may revisit that one because everybody's like, you're using the wrong amp. So I'm thinking about reaching out and trying to see if I can get some tube amps to connect to it and see if it really makes a difference.
Well,
Another one. You're just messing around.
I was looking around at some other reviews of like some higher end speakers and stuff like that. And there's always asking it. And I did that like unboxing and overview of that Michi integrated amplifier.
That thing looks pretty cool.
Man. Dude, I'm hooked on it. We've only been playing. I got 10 speakers technically. We've only been playing the 2 since I got those Focals and that Michi in. Like that's it. Everything's just rolling through there. Even like TV shows, man. Sounds great. No subwoofers either. Sounds great. Anyway, someone was like, "Well, you didn't. This is a bad review. You didn't compare it with other speakers. You didn't, put different combinations on there." And like this is a thing that I've seen. A lot of the hi-fi people are like, oh, well, this speaker was great with this amplifier and this tube pre. And like, okay, dude, like, really? Yeah. So now just to review one amplifier, I need to have 5 pairs of speakers, a tube pre, and different cables that are like $1,000 a piece. Like, right out of here.
Get the risers.
Yes, and the risers. Oh, I got one. Her name is Fancy. She'll lay there.
There we go.
So look at that riser.
Crazy thing. I was watching this old video from Paul Barton, and he's talking about hooking up tube amps, right? Tube power amps specifically, right? And he was saying that if you measure a solid state amp with the same speakers, and you measure the same one on a tube, he's like, you'll get a lot of times what do you call it? A boost in the bass region. And he's like, that's why it sounds warmer. If you actually measure them, you'll see that happening. I'm wondering if that's actually the case. I've never done the measurement, but that's what he said in that particular video.
Well, so one of my complaints about the Klipsch was that it was just bright overall, which isn't surprising. I mean, Klipsch generally has like a high frequency boost. But people were saying, well, because you're supposed to use them with tube amps and that'll cut it. I'm like, well, if manufacturers are making tube amps that have basically a high pass filter, is saying that right?
Yeah.
Low pass.
Low pass.
Yeah. Then they're doing something wrong. And what's even better was I reached out to Klipsch directly. I sent them an email and said, hey, I tested this, or I'm considering purchasing these speakers, and I've got an AVR. Should I get a separate amplifier or should I get a tube amp? Because everybody's like, you can't test it with an AVR, blah, 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 blah. Klipsch emails you back. Well, some people like to do blah, blah, blah. But basically they said, use whatever amp you want. Yeah. From Klipsch. So I'm like, okay. So anyway, here we are. I just don't care for those speakers. But I do want to test them on the NFS just to see how close my quasi
your measurement was.
I really want to see what happens when are you going to do one with a solid state and a tube and show the difference? I'm kind of curious about that.
Well, I don't know if I can do that because the Klippel basically says, hey, I know it's coming in and I've got to correct for that if it's not flat. Like if the amplifier output signal isn't flat.
Oh.
Yeah. So
what if you
but as far as like listening to it goes, that's what people were saying was, you didn't. And I'm like, well, okay, it had these 2 resonances that were completely audible. An amplifier, I don't know. I've never seen a single amplifier that has 110 hertz notch filter built into it for these speakers. So there's strike one.
But think about this: if it enhances the bass, though,
it could.
The enhancement in bass could give you the perception that the treble relative to that is lower.
Right. It's possible.
And Joe was always telling me like, people spending all this money on this tube amplifier, they should get this cheapo like tube pre, and use their current amplifier. So if you get one of those things and then just boom, it'll be like almost a direct comparison. Yeah.
So I'm just curious about how about this? Can you possibly measure the change in impedance when it's connected to like a tube amp? Is that like how could you possibly see the difference?
I don't know. I'll have to think about it. But I would be curious. I'm sure there's some way that you could do it. You could probably probe the leads or something. There's got to be some way, but I'm not sure right now. But I think right now I'm just going to see if I can find somebody with a tube amp that would be willing to send me one for the review or loan me one for the review.
I know. I don't know how good they are. I know Monoprice makes some very inexpensive tube amps.
Okay.
And they even have some hybrid ones too. So you can check out I think it's on their Monolith series.
Then they're going to say you don't have an expensive one that's
No,
expensive
but-
enough. You need a Prima Luna. You
Oh,
need a
yeah, you need
Macintosh.
all kinds of-
gosh.
Yeah,
Well,
I
then
can
I'll
tell
say
you, I can tell you
bring
this
it.
right now. People aren't putting Macintosh on clips. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
And we all know that. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, well, we know Michael's putting Patogo is putting Macintosh with Polk. So you
Yeah.
never know. You never know. Right?
That's
I mean,
$6,000 Polk ones, but
yeah, that's a pretty high.
I
end.
mean, but still,
Yeah.
you can't really say that. So somebody might have an, like Macintosh has some awesome tube amplifiers that put out a ton of power. They could be
Yeah.
putting that on some, what did I
That'd be
have in
pretty
here?
sweet.
Cornwalls. God, those things are huge.
yeah.
Cornwalls.
Yeah.
Does Parasound make a
tube? No.
No.
Okay.
Just-
All right.
Just solid state.
Scratch that then.
And Class D
Okay.
make those.
Anyway.
Shauna.